What's up, everybody? Here we are, kind of a day late. I should have done this yesterday on my day off, but I kind of wanted to do this before tomorrow. Crown Jewel is tomorrow, obviously. Um, I know I haven't done. I know last time it was my kind of review of the last pay per view. I didn't really give my picks in, but this time I'm gonna try to do my picks prior for tomorrow. Right now, I am on CBS Sports, and I'm just gonna go through there what they have listed. This is in no particular order. Well, it is in an order. It's just their order. But anyway, let's get it started. First one up is Reigns versus Logan Paul for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Now, honestly, I don't know why they did this. I kind of know why because ratings. I can't remember what video I saw. It showed who had the highest ratings, and it's pretty much why this is happening. Ratings spike when Logan Paul's on there, and obviously ratings spike when you have Reigns there. So let's put them together and let them go at it. Or it could be just we don't know who is Reigns facing. You know every other you know event that's happening because he's not gonna face anybody for the title next month, or I should say this month, at Survivor Series. You know, he's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. His probably next title defense won't happen until Royal Rumble, considering they got rid of Day One. Rightfully so. I think Day One is dumb. They should just bring back TLC. But anyway, prediction here is Reigns wins. Looking at this, what the writer wrote, he said Paul could win by disqualification. That way, Paul still wins, but he doesn't necessarily walk away with the belts. So, I mean, that kind of makes sense, but you never know. But still, obviously, Reigns is going to still win. Next up, I'm very surprised this happened for Riyadh. Me, me personally, until I know how Saudi Arabia watches, you know, WWE. Do they, shade out, you know, the women's uh, skin, and then air that after it aired? That way they can kind of censor it in their own way, or do they just watch it appear? I mean, quite frankly, I don't like that. I mean, yes, it's their country's rules and everything like that, but come on, it's a little hypocritical that you can view, you know, you know, watch that skin flesh on TV, but when you're in person, you have to obey by the rules. I'm surprised this actually. Anyway, point I'm making, a little hypocritical. I was very surprised when all the bouts card that was being listed, not one woman match was on here. I was very surprised that I was like, oh man, maybe they caught on to how this happened, but eventually it came about, and that's the Raw Women's Championship. Belair versus Bayley in the last women's standing match. Considering this is the last women's standing match, this will probably be it for a while. Uh, my guess is that Bayley will win, um, on account of Kai and Io lost their titles on Monday. So I think it'll be a quite, a flip flop of titles happen. Maybe Damage Control will eventually have, all quote unquote all the belts, or not. Maybe Damage Control ran its course, and maybe they'll go their separate ways. I don't know, but still, um, I think Bailey will win. Next up is Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. Um, you know, it's tough. It's really tough to know who would walk away from this match. Um, because I like them both. Um, if this was like any stipulation, I'll probably have a better idea of who would win. But in a straight up match, I might have to go Brock. Um, you know, it, but I really want Bobby to win on account of okay, Brock wins, then what happens? He just disappears in the night. If Bobby wins, he's still around and he might go back after Seth. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But I think Brock's gonna win. But even though in my heart I want Bobby to win. Uh, Next we have Drew versus Karrion Kross in a steel cage match. I think Drew finally gets his um, win over Kross because that kind of keeps out Scarlett. But you never know. She might still play a factor in here somehow. I just don't know. But I have Drew winning. Next up is Braun versus Omos. I think this is one of those matches like in between, um, you know, start out high, go low, and then rev it back up. I think this is the one that's right before it revs back up in the cards later that tomorrow. But it's hard to know in this one. Um, on because they're both pretty big, just size wise. But as far as now Braun doesn't really wrestle. I mean, he does, but you guys know what I mean. Hopefully, yeah, I see Braun winning this match. Um, Even after this match, I kind of know you know, where they're headed because I don't think I want to see Omos, you know, 2v1 or 4v1 matches. Same thing with Braun. I don't want to see him do the same thing. Hopefully they'll, start wrestling other superstars instead of local talent. But yeah, Braun wins this one. The OC versus the Judgment Day. Um, it's hard to say who would win. Whether it's the Judgment Day or the OC. Obviously, the weak chain is Dominic Mysterio. However, Rhea is that wild card. She always been that wild card. I think it's because you know, you know, Triple H and Tony can't, and the other writers probably trying to figure out who the female is going to be the equalizer to, Rhea. Uh, and it might be Beth. I can totally see Edge and Beth coming to the OC's aid, especially Beth. And then we'll probably see Beth. We'll, yeah, we'll probably see Beth and Edge in a mixed tag match once again for Survivor Series versus Rhea and I don't know, probably Finn most likely. Um, and obviously we'll know how that would end. But until we know, unless there's another female that's gonna take on Rhea or be that equalizer, I can't think of any females on the Raw brand that would be her equalizer, or take her out of the equation unless they're bringing somebody up from NXT or something. But yeah, so until I'm not gonna, I can't really, again, I can't really give my definitive answer because right this second it'll be the Judgment Day, but until I see that female helper that takes out Rhea, then it'll be the OC. Next up is the undisputed tag match: the Usos versus the Brawling Brutes. If it was the New Day, I would pick the New Day, but since it's the Brutes, I gotta pick the Usos. I think this tomorrow would be where they break the New Day's record. So since I just now seen this, I guess there's gonna be a rematch for the women's match: Alexa Bliss versus Damage Control. Now this is here. I do believe Bayley is gonna win, and then Damage Control will win it back. That makes more sense now. Now that I've seen this card up, very surprised this here. So yeah, those were my picks. What's gonna go down tomorrow for Crown Jewel? So, what else? That was pretty much it. Not much going on. Now I pretty much gonna talk about what's going on with, you know, I shouldn't say my love life. It sounds iffy. I mean, technically yes, but let's just say happenings with relationships and stuff. So anyway, moving on with that. So as of now, I've gotten approved for taking off in late January, pretty much last week of January. I'll be there for almost 2 weeks, 10 nights, 11 nights, 10 nights. I'll be there for 10 nights, but I'm heading back, plan on heading back to Friday and taking off that Saturday. And then usually I have Sundays off, so almost 2 weeks. I mean, yes, technically I'll be gone for 2 weeks because I plan on leaving that 22nd, and it'll take, depending on the flight I take, at most I'll get there Tuesday mid morning, and then 7, 8, 9, yeah, 10 nights. Yeah, there for 10 nights and what have you. Like I said, I got approved. She hasn't yet got approved. And then now, today, I just got an email from her saying her grandmother's in the hospital. And now she had to take emergency absent from her job to go to Manila. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's the capital of the Philippines. So, gonna see what happens now. Because if it turns out because she took this emergency thing, she can't, go take her vacation at the end of January, which will kind of put a damper on a lot of things. Namely, like, okay, I think there's a difference between emergency leave versus vacation. I don't know if they have the same thing as we do, but you never know. But I mean, if she can't go because of the whole grandma thing, whatnot, that again, like it puts a damper on some stuff. because if she can't go, it means okay, cool. I don't have to, miss work. Um, but on the flip side of that, it's like, well, now what? You know, uh, it's like, okay, putting it off. I mean, I could still technically go, but I just do the group tour. But that's gonna cost a lot more. Because I don't know if I mentioned how much it costs to do it, but right now I have it pulled up. Uh, the 10-day 9 nights is $37.95. $3,795. Uh, the only reason why I said that is because usually at my job when I tell them how much it costs to do a drain, it's like when I say 430, it's like $430. Well, it's not $4.30. You know, um, but still, that's 37.95 plus how much whatever it costs to fly out there. So that's you're looking at 5 grand. You know, close to it. It's like versus you know, I mean, for the group tour you get 2 socials, which is probably the highlight of the whole entire thing. You know, uh, hotel accommodations. You know, but the hotel accommodation comes with, they add on breakfast with it. Because I went to the like hotels.com, looked up the hotel you be staying at, and they have an option of adding breakfast to it, which is $7. So, and then that you get unlimited, introductions, which turns out to be 95 each, or I shouldn't say each, but that's how much they charge for one introduction or whatnot. So that's how much that is, and then 2 excursions at most, I believe, if I remember that conversation. So I mean, that's what you're getting for a group tour versus what I plan on spending. Because flight out there, you're spending $1,000. I mean, there's no way around. I think the lowest I've seen is 1,300. Just a flight out there. Uh, a hotel. When I wrote this down, it was 830. Uh, you know, for 10 nights, and then 125 for an office fee, and then $95 for the introduction. You know, Th- you know that's that's a lot better than spending 37.95 plus um, whatever food, obviously, um, and everything like that. Um, you know, oh, excuse me. I think yeah, I think that's a lot better. Because I think that's I would say $1,000. Maybe 1,500, around $1,500 cheaper. You're saving. I mean, that's $1,500. I wouldn't say you could spend there because it's not going to cost a lot. Like um, as of today, hold on. So dollars. Um, that's Mexican pesos. Give me a second. 1 peso there is like 0.017 cents to us. So let me just flip that around. So $1 is basically 58.42 pesos. You know, and I've seen some of the prices there. You know, I think I've seen food that costs like 200 pesos. Uh, $3.42 to us. You know, um, I've seen you can skate, ice skate for, I think it was 250 or 300. That's $4 or 300 peso. That's $5. You know, it's not a lot. I mean, even that $1,500 you may save, you probably won't even need a grand to spend. Unless unless you're shopping. I mean, shopping, which I don't. You shouldn't honestly do unless you want to bring back a lot of souvenirs. But still, so back to my main concern. If she cancels, I think it's a little early for me to do the group tour. I think the next group tour in Cebu would be in May. Because if she can't go and she puts it off until around that time, because I hate to be that asshole of a guy and say, I can't wait that long. I mean, I'm in no hurry to get married. However, I don't want to keep spending money to send letters. Yes, you do spend through this agency. You have to spend money to send letters. Um, uh, yeah. So I mean, I can't do another. The rest of this month, December and January, um, until we meet, and then we can exchange information. Uh, I don't know if I pointed out, but on this site, you can't exchange personal information with unless she signs an AMBRA form, which stands for International Marriage Broker uh, Rights Act. Um, so the only reason why I know you could probably meet Filipinos on Facebook and other dating site, but you don't know what you're gaining on there. It's hit or miss. At least here, everybody's looking for marriage. Uh, but that being said, um, back that being said, the next group tour is in May. Um, by then, I'll probably if that happens, where I can't wait, I can definitely save up to go in May versus January, because now like I don't have 5 grand right now. I have what I just mentioned earlier now, but I don't have 5 grand to do. I'll probably have 5 grand in May, but not right now. So if she, I shouldn't say if she flakes, but if she can't get approved, I don't want to I don't want to be that guy and say, well, that sucks. That being said, I could maybe February, give it a couple weeks, but there's no way I'm just gonna straight up wait, you know, 6 months for you to, finally get time off. It's like I don't. Sounds like from her schedule, she works a lot. I don't know if it's because she tells me in her letters that there's holiday going on. She works as a phone operator. Um, Not a phone operator, or close enough. With the headset and bullshit like that. And she's working some, a lot of hours, 6 days a week type shit on nights. Um, hold on, where is it? Da, 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 da. Let me pull up her message. Mm, sorry. Oh, call center agent. Um, because they have a long holiday at All Souls and All Saints Day. This is back in 2 days ago on the second. Yeah, I don't know what call center have you working, 6 days a week on nights, But then again, I don't know what's in the Philippines as far as, you know, companies go, I should say. Um, but, but yeah, from if you see the letters that she writes, I'll try to keep them private, but enough to know what I'm dealing with. She definitely wants to be a wife. She definitely wants to be a mother. Um, you know, which I'm, obviously, all the women on here wants to be wives and mothers. Um, and she generally, from what I could read, again, this is just from her letters and everything like that. She generally cares for me. I don't know if she's putting on airs or not, just, everything like that. But, uh, it's kind of hard to know true emotions through letters. But if we're just going on letters alone, yes, she generally cares for me. Um, she's checking all the boxes that I'm looking for. So if she can't go during the time I want to go there, yes, it will kind of hurt a little. You know, I'm like, well, this sucks. When can you go? And if she can't, if she says, well, I think I can go in, 3 months from now, I'm like, well, if you can, sure. I mean, 3 months from January, which would be March. I mean, if she could go in March, that's one thing. Cool. I'm like, if you can go in March, that's fine. But know this. I'm probably saying in the letter, I'm like, well, if you can go in March, we're probably not going to communicate until around that time, until I'm ready to go and say, hey, are we still on for this? If she tells me why, it's like, well, like I said, this is costing me money to send and receive your letters. And I can use that money to put aside, to fly out there. You know, hopefully she, you know, takes that to heart. And if she truly is, you know, quote unquote, the one, she would understand and wait, you know. But you never know. Um, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to say any bad about her grandmother. If her grandmother passes, I don't know what that's gonna do. Um, I mean, obviously, normally when somebody, I know here at least, when somebody passed, funerals literally the next week. I don't know what it's like over there. I don't know their situations. I know through this agency they won't ask for money. If they do, um, one you, that falls under the whole, ask for personal information. So there's no way of me sending money. So that's it. Kind of works out for me and in my favor in that regards. But I mean, it. I'm kind of hoping, not to sound selfish, but hopefully there's nothing happens to her grandmother. If there does something happens to her, again, not trying to sound selfish, but you can call me selfish if you like. Not trying to, again. Hopefully it doesn't, hamper her from, taking more time off from work to go to a funeral, and then the work. It'd probably be out of her control, where her job was like, yeah, well, you just literally took off to your grandmother's as a family emergency, and now a funeral. Once again, you have to take off again. I can't give you vacation, even though you know you have vacation time. Maybe not. I don't. Again, I don't know how our job works. Mine is pretty much you have two options. You could take your PTO or leave of absence. For me, it'll be leave of absence because I just started, so I don't have that much PTO. Um, yeah, my branch manager, the manager's like, "You're almost taking 2 weeks off." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." I'm like, "I know." It sucks, but um, it really does because I know I'm gonna be. I gotta save up a lot, so hopefully these next few months leading up to there, I'll be good enough where I could take 2 weeks off, or just about, and then be fine until that next check comes in, or that week. But so far, this last week and this week I'm on, it's looking kind of iffy and what have you. But you never know; might turn around during November, the rest of this month, in December and January. But I already bought my GoPro. Um, you know, because I definitely wanted to swim with those fucking whale sharks. I definitely want to go to the whale sharks, swim with them. Uh, Definitely want to check out the Taoist Temple. I've seen videos of that. Definitely want to do that. Uh, Definitely want to hit up some of the waterfall places they have there. So it'd be dope, very dope. It'd be one hell of a vacation slash whatever. I don't know what would you call that, you know. Um, but still, it'll be well worth it in the long run, as well as a much needed one of relaxing because I haven't been on a real vacation in decades. An actual, real, real vacation. I mean, you had family vacations, but that was like where you're a kid. Whatever. I mean, that, and then when I was 18, there was the wedding cruise. We went on a cruise. I was 18. We went to Cozumel. You know, did that cruise. I was 18, so I was kind of with my parents. Still, once we got in the Mexican waters, me and my cousin drank ourselves stupor. And then after that, it was pretty much, nothing. You know, nothing. The only time I had days off was I pretty much had to take days off, or I lost them. But yeah, so hopefully this all works out and I actually get to meet her. The only downside of this, and I thought about this, this afternoon while I'm just sitting on my ass, just in my truck, just waiting for a job to come through, was if I propose on night 5 or 6 and she says no, you know, especially if she gets the green light and it turns out, she's going to stay with me until, you know, in the hotel with me until, my time's up, I should say. And she says no, I'm not ready yet, or maybe we should wait. Let's talk some more, Skype some more. I shouldn't say more. We should Skype. Get to know each other. And the next time you come, you can propose. You know, if she says something along the lines of that or close to it, after the no, obviously, like I'm like, what do you mean no? You know, uh, I flew out here. I've been messaging you for September, October. No, let's see, yeah, September, October, November, December, January. I've been emailing you. We've been emailing each other for 5 months. You knew my intentions. I knew your intentions. We were on this site because we were looking for, husband slash wife. Yeah, I'm looking for a wife. You're looking for, what I mean. Vice versa. You knew our intentions. We, like I said in our letters, what we wrote. Um, you know, you wanted to be a wife. She literally said, I I want to be married to you, and she's talking about, honeymoon this, honeymoon that, our wedding, our honeymoon, blah blah blah, and she says no. You know, first off, yeah, all right, so do I kick her out? I mean, I have to, right? Right? Because you said no. I mean, okay, you just got four. You just got 5, 6 nights of room and board, meals, and everything like that, and entertainment for all those days, and and you say no. I'm like, well, this is awkward because I'm like, well, enjoy the rest of this night. Well, it's hard to enjoy the rest of the night, but he's like, well, when we get back to the room, you gotta pack your stuff, and in the morning you gotta go. I'm like, I mean, right? That's the only option because you say no. I'm like, well, you say no. I'm like, well, should I propose tomorrow, or you know, or the day after that? I'm like, well, I'm like, You say no. I'm like, well, that's going through my mind the rest of the trip, and I'm like, yeah. So that I know it's weird that I think of these things, but but I have to. I kind of have to. Keeps you on your toes. You know, prepare for the worst. I guess they say. The they say. I don't want to put that in the you know, in the ether or whatever, but something I got to think of. My mom says I always think negative, negative, but it's like, well, if I think negative, I won't be. I mean, I'll still be disappointed, but at least I know it can happen. I got to know every possibility, what have you. So I think I would be in the right to do that. Um, you know, you say no, I say, well, I hope you enjoyed your, all these days with me, joined my company, you know, uh, but this ain't, you can't be here with me for the rest of my tenure and get all this and and just say no to to whatever. Because I mean, you you're gonna say no. I mean, yes, you probably have to. you know, because she wants to be a at home wife slash mom mother. It's like, well, do you really want to go back to working 6 days on nights? I mean, I'm not saying I'm not trying to be Captain Save, but you know, maybe you liked it. Maybe you like working at a call center. I mean, I know you probably have whatever. I don't want to get into it. Point is, that's what I'm dealing with. We'll find out. I will find out, and days to come, what's going on with this. Um, Thank you for letting me rant. I usually use this time by myself to rant whatever's on my mind. If you haven't noticed up to this point, um, but if you are interested, if you're one of those people that likes hearing these types of stories, I appreciate it for letting me tell my story. Again, I'll try to keep this updated up to the point. Um, if she gets approved, I'll let y'all know. If she doesn't, I'll let y'all know. I'll let y'all know what's happening. But until this Sunday, we are indeed recording a podcast this time. Um, yeah, so I can never really close. I am a horrible closer. If you guys haven't noticed, of all these years, I am just horrible at closing. But anyway, I'll just edit here. Till then, till next time. Bye.